All right, so as we're moving from C to D, we're gaining an extra unit of cell phone. But then how many units of DVDs did we sacrifice? 12 minus 9, right? So that is what we have here. I'm sure you can see how the opportunity cost is increasing as we are moving down the PPF. Now, if we have to move from D to E, okay, D to E, we are still gaining just an extra unit of cell phones. But then for DVDs, we are moving from 9 to 5. So we sacrifice what? 4. So the opportunity cost here becomes what? 4 DVDs per phone. Now, if we move from E to F, now we are producing 5 units. It's just 1 increase in cell phone. But then we are no longer producing any unit of DVD at all. So 5 minus 0, that is what? 5. So the opportunity cost here is what? 5 DVDs per phone. Okay, 5 DVD per phone. So what we have here is we call it increasing opportunity cost. Increasing opportunity cost. As we are moving down the PPF, then the opportunity cost of producing cell phones tend to increase. That's the reason why the shape is like this. Now, the slope of the PPF at any point is the opportunity cost of producing the horizontal good in terms of the vertical one. Okay, so if you have a line, when we start with the mathematical points, you see that the steeper the curve, the higher the slope. Okay, so as you can see, as we are moving down from A to F, then the curve becomes steeper. Okay, if you draw a line here, look at this curve, this line here, and then look at this line. I'm sure you can see that this line is steeper than this one. Okay, so as you are moving down the curve, the PPF is becoming steeper. That is why the opportunity cost increases as we move down the PPF. Okay, and then one reason is that you can see that by the time we move from here up to this point, we are now producing more of cell phones. Okay, you are producing more of cell phones and you still want to produce more of it, then you have to sacrifice more of the DVDs before you can get an extra unit of what? Cell phone. So the PPF depicts increasing opportunity cost. So if you are drawing it and you don't draw it like this, it is wrong. It is not a straight line. Okay, if you are drawing PPF and you do this, this is not PPF, this is a straight line. Okay, this is just a straight line. And for straight lines, they have the same slope throughout. Okay, but then it's bold outside. Okay, so that the slope changes as we move down the curve, depicting increasing opportunity cost. Okay, so if you keep on doing an activity for a very long time, the opportunity cost of that activity tends to increase. So this is how we calculate opportunity cost of one good in terms of the other. So now just assuming we want to calculate the opportunity cost of producing DVD. Are we together?
Yes.
If we want to calculate the opportunity cost of producing an extra unit of DVD, that will be a decrease in cell phone divided by the increase in DVD. Is that okay?
Yes.
So this curve here is just showing us the increasing opportunity cost. Okay, as you keep on producing more cell phones, you have to keep on sacrificing more DVD. So per the PPF, there's always an increasing opportunity cost of producing a particular good or service. Okay. All right, the opportunity cost and then the slope of the PPF. This I've said this already, that is the slope of the PPF, the magnitude of the slope that determines the opportunity cost. So at any point on the PPF, the slope at that point is going to give you the opportunity cost of one good in terms of the other. And then what we have to understand is that assuming that the opportunity cost of producing cell phones is X DVDs, okay? X DVDs. Then it means that the opportunity cost of producing DVD will be 1 over X cell phones. Is that okay? If the opportunity cost of, so for example, when we had opportunity cost of two DVDs per phones, if you want to find the opportunity cost of producing DVD, it will be 1 over 2 cell phones. Is that okay?
Come again.
What I think I even saw that thing here somewhere. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. I'm saying that, as we've seen earlier, if you want to calculate the opportunity cost of producing cell phones or increasing cell phone by one quantity, it's going to be the decrease in DVDs divided by the increase in cell phones, right? So conversely, if you want to calculate the opportunity cost of DVD, then that is going to be the decrease in cell phones divided by the increase in DVDs. Is that okay?
Yes, I get it.
So if, for example, the opportunity cost of a cell phone is X DVDs, then if you want the opportunity cost of DVD to be 1 over X cell phones, it's just the reciprocal.
The inverse.
Just the inverse, okay? It's just the inverse. All right. Any questions so far? So as we saw, opportunity cost on the PPF is increasing, okay? As you tend to produce more of one, you tend to sacrifice more of the other, okay? Tend to sacrifice more of the other. All right, any question about opportunity cost before we go to economic growth?
No, I'm okay.
All right, so we look at economic growth. If we say that an economy is experiencing growth, it means there's a sustained expansion in production possibilities. So now we can actually produce more combinations than what we were previously producing. But then what actually brings about economic growth? Okay, we will have economic growth when there is maybe an increase in the level of technology. Okay, now if you compare these advanced countries to us here, to Africans, you see they are growing because of their level of technology. You see, the last time that we were going to Volta region, I think some of the villages, they weave this kinteteng, and they are still using the old method that farming some decades past when they realized they could actually weave kente. The method of production hasn't changed. It's almost a century now. We are still using the same thing. So if our forefathers were using 5 hours to produce 1 yard of kente, we are still using 5 hours to produce 1 yard of kente. It means we are not being productive. We are not bettering our level of technology. That's why we are not experiencing growth. So if you look at the advanced economies that are growing, they are growing because of the technology that they are using now. Okay, look at how they even do farming in the United States, and look at what we are doing here. We are still using cutlasses and hoes. So how do we move on? We are not growing. So to experience economic growth, to have those sustained increase in production possibilities, we need better technology. We need to improve the quality of labor. Here we go to school, we are studying history, we are studying economics. I mean, book. That is all. There's nothing about technology. So the quality of labor is still the same. Unless we get a white collar job, we go and sign papers and that, we can't do anything. Okay, using our hands, our intellect to manufacture things, no, we are unable to do that. That is why we are not growing. But then the countries that are growing, they are constantly improving the quality of labor. Okay, so for us to experience economic growth, we need better tech. We need to increase or improve the quality of labor and then have more capital goods. Ghana here, everything is food. It's food. We only produce consumption goods. So we are not going anywhere. It's capital goods that we use to produce other goods. So if we are producing consumables, we produce it, we consume it. So we have to get other resources to produce new ones. But then if we're able to produce more capital goods, we'll use those capital goods to further produce other goods so that we can expand our production possibilities, but then we are not experiencing those things. So to have economic growth, you need to have better technology, increase in quality of labor, and produce more capital goods. Okay, when it happens like this, when there is an increase in our resources, we are able to produce more. So the PPF will shift. It will shift outwards. We said the PPF is a production limit. We don't produce past it. Given the resources that we have, the technology that we have, it cannot move past it. So it can only move when there's an increase in our resources, increase in quality of labor, capital, technology, and all that. That's the only way we can cause the PPF to shift outwards. And it shifting outwards means that we can now produce more of both goods. So for us to look at economic growth, let's look at the PPF. Here we are assuming we are producing capital goods and consumption goods. So the consumption goods will be on the horizontal, and then the capital goods will be on the vertical. So an example of a consumption good will be cell phone. That of the capital good will be the cell phone factories. Okay. So now let's assume these are the possibilities. Okay. Now at J, we can only produce cell phone factories. Okay. And then at L, we can only produce what? Cell phones. Okay. Only cell phones. There's the quantity we can produce per year. There's the quantity of cell phone factories we can produce per year. Now, assuming we are just at L, if we are just at L, okay, we are producing what? Only cell phones without getting any factory to produce the cell phones. So if we continue to be at L, we can only produce 5 million units of cell phones, nothing more. We can no longer produce something more than that. But what happens if we actually reduce the quantity of cell phones we are producing? Then we channel that resources into producing cell phone factories. So here we are no longer having 0 cell phone factories, but then we are reducing the quantity of cell phones that we produce per year from 5 million. We are taking away 2 million. So now there's the quantity we can produce per year. Then we use those resources to come and produce what? To come and produce 2 units of cell phone factories. Okay, so what is happening now? We producing 2 units of cell phone factories means that we have increased our stock of capital goods. And it's capital goods that helps us to actually produce more goods. If you want your PPF to expand, you need more capital goods. So if in the current year, this is our PPF, we are no longer producing 5 units of cell phones. We've reduced it. And as a result, we are producing 2 units of what? Cell phone factories. That tend to the capital goods. So in the following year, you see that the PPF will shift outwards. And what is the meaning of this? It means now we can produce more units of what? Cell phones, because we have 2 units of cell phone factories. We can use it to build more cell phones. So for us to actually experience economic growth, look at this. Initially, we were consuming at what? At point K, where we were able to produce 2 units of what? The cell phone factories, and then just days of cell phone. But then, because we have increased the production of the capital good, in the following year, we'll move on to what? K prime. K prime, we are now getting more of what? Cell phones. If we tend to increase the production of cell phones too, we'll realize that in the coming years, the PPF will keep on what? Shifting outwards. Then we'll keep on producing more. And that will give us more, we can produce more goods and then services. Okay, so before a country can actually experience economic growth, we need to produce more capital goods. That is just what the advanced economies are doing. Okay, that's what the advanced economies are doing. But here, everything is food. See, we like food. Everything, food. We produce different varieties of food. That is why we are not progressing. We are not advancing. We are not growing at all. Okay, so Frank, that is something about economic growth, but then later on in your economic life, you will study growth again. Okay, you study growth again with some growth theories and all that. All right, we move to specialization and trade. Any question about economic growth?
No, I'm okay.
All right. Now, assuming you have two economies, we are all producing the same good. Definitely one economy will be more productive than the other. When we say that one production unit is more productive than the other, it means that that unit uses either fewer units of inputs or takes less time to produce whatever amount of goods and services that they want to produce. So just assuming we have economy A, economy B, we are all supposed to produce 10 units of a particular good, okay? 10 units of a particular good. Now, one economy is using only 10 units, okay? One economy is using only 10 units of inputs to produce that same quantity that they want at even, let's say, 2 hours. Another economy is using 20 units with, say, 4 hours. The one using fewer inputs and fewer time will be seen as more productive than the other. Okay, so if you are producing and you use fewer inputs and then a lesser amount of time, we say that your production process is more productive. Okay, so if one person or an economy is more productive than the other, then it means that that economy or person has an absolute advantage in production. Okay, he has what? An absolute advantage in production. Are we together? So we can say that China has an absolute advantage in production as compared to Ghana because they are way better than us. I even heard they are producing kente now, and I doubt they are going to use their hands to weave it. They'll be using machines. So if Ghana here will use like 2 weeks to produce 5 years, they can use that 2 weeks to produce like 5 million jars of whatever kente that they want to produce, which means that they have an absolute advantage in production. Okay, so now people or economies can engage in trade. You specialize in the production of one good, and then later on you engage in trade with other economies. When you have a comparative advantage in that production, let's get the difference between absolute advantage and comparative advantage. For absolute advantage, you are able to produce the good with fewer inputs and lesser amount of time. That is absolute advantage. So you are more productive. But for comparative advantage, you are able to produce the good at a lower opportunity cost. Now, remember from our PPF, we saw that when you are producing 2 goods, you want to produce more of one, you have to sacrifice the other. That is the opportunity cost. So you have a comparative advantage if you are able to produce a good or a service at a lower opportunity cost than someone. So if we have 2 people engaging in a production process, this person is producing A and B. I'm also producing A and B. Now, it is definitely possible that I can produce more of A than B. I easily produce A than B. And then you to produce more of B than A. It means that you have a comparative advantage in B. I have a comparative advantage in A. So why don't we specialize in the production of one? Later, then we trade. You give me the one that you can produce more. I also give you the one I can produce more. Then we will see the benefit that we gain from that. So when we do have comparative advantage in production, we have to do that, specialize, and then we engage in trade. So let's use this example to demonstrate specialization in trading. We are taking these 2 people, Joe and then Liz. They produce smoothies and then salads. They all produce their 2 goods, okay? Now let's look at how they can come together and trade, okay? Now let's go to Liz smoothie bar. Now, in an hour, Liz can produce either 30 smoothies or 30 salads in 1 hour, okay? So if you look at the table here, that's disease production possibilities. The items are smoothies and salads. How many minutes would we need to produce one smoothie? If in an hour we can produce 30 units, it means we need 2 minutes to produce one unit of what smoothie. Okay, so we need 2 minutes to produce what 1 unit. So the 1 hour will be able to produce what 30 units. Then if it's for salads too, we are using 1 hour to produce 30 units of salads, which means that we need 2 minutes to produce each unit of salad. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is going to be the opportunity cost of producing one salad? What is going to be the opportunity cost of producing one smoothie? Now, let's look at the time. If you want to produce 1 unit of salad, you need 2 minutes. If you want to produce 1 unit of smoothie, you need 2 minutes, which means that if you want to increase salad by 1 unit, you have to sacrifice 2 minutes that you are using to produce smoothie. And that 2 minutes could have produced 1 unit of smoothies. So the opportunity cost of producing one salad will be 1 smoothie that you have to sacrifice. And the opportunity cost of producing 1 smoothie will also be 1 unit of salad that you have to sacrifice. Are we together?
I'm getting more confused.
Yes, this part is a bit confusing. So let's go over again. We are going over again. Okay. Now we only have 1 hour to produce. Okay. And then for this 1 hour, we can either produce 30 units of smoothies or 30 units of what salads, right? Now just assuming let's draw this. Let's draw the PPF. I think that should help. Let's take this as smoothies and this as salad, okay? Now, if we use the entire 1 hour, we can produce 30 units of salad. If we use it for smoothie too, we can produce 30, okay? Just remember that we use 2 minutes to produce each unit of what? Either salad or smoothies. Now, at this point here, we are not producing any salad at all, okay? Now, what if we want to produce 1 unit of salad? How many minutes do we need to produce 1 unit of salad? We need 2 minutes, right?
Yes.
Which means that out of the 1 hour that we are using to produce 30 units of smoothies, we have to take 2 minutes out of it. When we take 2 minutes out of it, we could have used that 2 minutes to produce 1 unit of smoothie, right? So we have to sacrifice 1 unit of smoothie, which means that we will no longer produce 30 units of smoothies. We produce what? 29. So the opportunity cost of producing 1 unit of salad is the 1 unit of smoothie that we have sacrificed. Is that okay?
Yes.
If you want to produce another unit of salad, that one too, we need 2 minutes. And 2 minutes means that we have to sacrifice an additional 1 unit of what? Of smoothies. So the opportunity cost of producing 1 salad will be 1 smoothie that we sacrifice. If you go to salad 2, if you want to increase the production of smoothie by 1, you have to reduce your salad by 1 unit. So the opportunity cost of producing 1 smoothie is 1 salad. The opportunity cost of producing 1 salad is 1 smoothie. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So this is for Liz. But then this is what Liz does. She's selling both. So she's placed the 1 hour equally. So she produces 15 units of salads and 15 units of smoothies. Okay. So 30 for salad, 30 minutes for salad, 30 minutes for smoothie. And then it's 2 minutes per unit. So the 30 minutes can produce 15 units each. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go to Joe. For Joe, in an hour, Joe can produce 6 units of smoothies. So it means that he will use 10 minutes to produce 1 unit of smoothie. Are we together? If in an
Yes.
hour you can produce 6, it means that you are using 10 minutes for each unit. But then he can produce 30 units of salads in an hour, which means that he's using 2 minutes to produce what? 30 units of salad. Is that okay?
Yes.
Now let's look at the opportunity cost. What is the opportunity cost of producing 1 smoothie? How many units? How many minutes will Joe use to produce 1 smoothie? He needs 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes. So if you want to produce just 1 smoothie, you need 10 minutes. So how many minutes are we sacrificing here? We are sacrificing 10. But that 10 minutes, we could have used it to produce 5 units of salad. Please, do we see that?
Yes.
So we said that the opportunity cost of producing 1 smoothie will be 5 salads that we sacrifice. You need 10 minutes to produce just 1 unit of smoothie. But then that 10 minutes, we could have used it to produce what? 5 units of salad. So the opportunity cost of producing 1 smoothie is going to be what? 5 salads that we sacrifice. Are we clear?
Okay.
Good. Now let's go to salad. If you want to produce 1 extra unit of salad, how many minutes do you need? You need 2 units, right? We need
Yes.
2 units. But then we could have used that 2 minutes to produce 1/5 units of smoothies. Why? Because the 2 minutes cannot produce 1 unit of smoothie. We need 5 of 2 units. Are you seeing it? We need
Yes.
10 minutes to produce 1 smoothie. But then it's only 2 units. That we are 2 minutes that we are sacrificing here. So we could have used that 2 minutes to produce 1/5 units of what? Smoothies. Each 2 minutes will produce 5 units of smoothies. Another 2 minutes will produce 1/5. Another 2 produce 1/5. Another 2 produce 1/5. Another 2 produce what? 1/5. So if we add 5 of the 1/5, we'll get what? 5/5. That is where we're able to produce 1 unit of what? Of smoothies, which means that 2 minutes will only produce what? 1/5. Or let's use what we saw when we're using the DVD and then the cell phones. We said that if the opportunity cost of producing 1 smoothie, okay, let's use the DVD. If the opportunity cost of producing 1 cell phone is X DVDs, then the opportunity cost of producing 1 DVD will be 1/X cell phones. I hope we remember that.
Yes. Yes.
So if the opportunity cost of producing 1 smoothie is 5 salads, then the opportunity cost of producing 1 salad will be 1/5 smoothies. Are we together?
Yes.
Yes, I think that one helps. Okay, I think that one helps. So now we know but for Lay's, the opportunity cost of producing 1 smoothie was 1 salad. So 1/1 is still 1. That's why the opportunity cost of producing 1 salad is 1 smoothie. Okay. So now we have also seen the opportunity cost for Joe. But for Joe uses 50 minutes to produce smoothies, which means that he can only produce 5 units. Remember 10 minutes for one unit. Okay. So using 50 minutes to produce smoothies means that she can produce only 5 units of smoothies. Then the other 10 minutes will be used to produce what? Salads. But for salad, we need 2 minutes to produce 1. So the 10 minutes we can produce what? 5. We can produce 5. So Lay's was producing 15 for both. But for Joe, 5 for both. Okay, 5 for both. So let's look at the comparative advantage. For Lay's opportunity cost of smoothie is 1 salad. Joe's opportunity cost of smoothie is what? 5 salads. So let's analyze this. Who has a comparative advantage in producing smoothies? Remember, we said you have a comparative advantage when you produce it at a lower opportunity cost. So for Lay's, the opportunity cost of producing smoothie is lower than that of Joe. Are we together?
Yes.
So it means that Lay's can specialize in producing smoothies. So that is what they will do. Lay's has a comparative advantage in producing smoothies. So why doesn't she specialize in the production of smoothies? Let's look at Joe's comparative advantage too. Joe's opportunity cost of a salad, remember, is 1/5 smoothie, right?
Yes.
Then Lay's opportunity cost of salad is 1. So if you look at this, Joe also has a comparative advantage in producing what? Salad, because the opportunity cost there is what? Is lower. It is way lower than that of Lay's. So why won't Joe also specialize in producing salad? So Lay's go for a smoothie because you have a comparative advantage there, and then Joe has a comparative advantage in producing salad, so she also specializes there. Let's look at their production possibilities. This is for Liz. Liz was producing 15-15, right? 15-15. Then Joe was producing 5-5. I hope we remember that. 5-5.
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, we have seen that Liz has a comparative advantage in producing smoothies, and Joe has a comparative advantage in what? In producing salad. So let's see, is it possible that they can have some gains when they specialize and they trade? Okay. Now, if you look at the table here, before they trade, Liz was producing 15 units of smoothies and 15 of salad, right? And Joe too was producing 5 of both. So that is what we have here. But now, Liz is specializing in the producing of what? Smoothies. So if she specializes in the production of smoothies, then she will only produce smoothies without producing any salad at all. And remember, we said she will produce what? 30 units in an hour, because she uses 2 units to produce each smoothie. So if Liz should stop producing salad, then she can produce what? 30 units of smoothies. And then Joe, remember, Joe too could use 2 minutes to produce salads. So if he specializes in the production of salad, then he can also produce what? 30. Are we together? 30 units of
Yes.
salad. So if you look at the big part from the table, under specialization, Liz will produce 30 units of smoothies and nothing at all under salad. Then Joe too, you shouldn't produce any smoothie, but produce what? 30 units of what? Salad. So now this is the specialization. Let's look at the trading. So what is going to happen? Now, Liz has 30 units of smoothies. So she sells 10 to Joe, and Joe buys 10. This is the C part, is the trade. Smoothies are being produced by Liz. She's producing 30. So she's selling 10 to what? To Joe. So she sells 10 of smoothies, Joe buys 10. And then for Joe too, Joe is producing salads. So Joe will sell 20 units of salads. Then Liz will buy what? That 20 units of salads. So you see how the trade is going on. You will sell part of yours, and then you also buy the good that the other person is producing. So what happens after the trade? Initially, for the specialization, Liz was producing only 30 units of salad. Now she sold 10 to Joe. So Joe is now having 10 units of what? Smoothies. Joe was producing only 30. Now 20 has been sold to what? To Liz. So Liz is having what? 20 of the salad, and Joe is having what? 10. So after the trade, look at the combinations that they have now. Liz is now having 20-20. Joe is having 10-10. If you compare this to the before trade, can't you see there's a gain? You see that there's a gain, right? They are all gaining 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 each. Now Liz has 20, improvement by 5 units. Then salad to 20, improvement by 5. Joe too is now having 10-10. Initially it was 5-5. So you see that they've been able to do what? To gain from specialization and then trade. Is that okay?
Yes.
Very good. Very good. So this is what we use comparative advantage for. Now let's look at what is happening from their trade. Initially, this is where they were, point A. Okay. Now, because of their trade, this is what is happening. I want to. Now, because of the specialization, Liz was producing only 30 units of smoothies, right? And then Joe was producing only 30 units of what? Of salad. Now they engage in trade. And after they trade, what happens? This is what happens. Liz is now getting what? 20-20. And then Joe is getting what? 10-10. You see that they've even moved outside their PPF. Are we together? You see that they've moved outside their possibilities, which means that they again, initially, they were limited to this line. But because of the specialization in trade, they've been able to even move outside their possibilities. So that is the advantage that we get from specialization and then trade. We are able to enjoy more than what we can actually afford. All right, so please go through the notes, prepare for the quiz. We'll first go through some of the questions and then later on I'll give you a link to the quiz. All the best.